Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we are diving deep into the captivating tale of a small copper-plated steel disc that has stunned collectors and historians alike. The 1989 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny coin. You may have passed by this tiny coin without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these coins is now valued at an unbelievable $37 million? That's right, $37 million for a single penny. But before we unveil this jaw-dropping number, let's take a journey back in time to understand how a simple one-penny coin from 1989 became the stuff of legends. It was a cool morning in London, 1989. Margaret Thatcher was still Prime Minister, the Berlin Wall was falling, and pop culture was booming with the rise of Madonna and Michael Jackson. It was a year that marked transformation globally, and the Royal Mint, quietly yet meticulously, continued its production of the United Kingdom's circulating coinage. Among the ordinary coins minted that year, the one penny bore a familiar image: Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, portrayed with grace, strength, and dignity, symbolizing continuity in a world of constant change. But what made this 1989 issue so different, to the untrained eye? Perhaps nothing. The reverse featured the crown portcullis with chains, a design originally used as a badge by Henry VII, a symbol later adopted by the Palace of Westminster. It was a staple design since decimalization in 1971, crafted by Christopher Ironside. On the obverse was the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf, depicting the Queen with the George IV state diadem, radiating authority and elegance. The details were crisp, the relief well-defined, and the shine of the copper-plated steel gave it a warm, almost regal glow when freshly minted. Now, here's where the story starts to twist. In 1989, millions of one-penny coins were indeed minted for general circulation, but rumors have swirled for decades in numismatic circles about a specific batch, an extremely limited run, that had anomalies. These were not production errors per se, but rather coins with a unique combination of characteristics. Some had different die alignments. Some had inconsistencies in the metal composition. And then there was that one, the one with characteristics so rare, experts believed it was either a trial piece or a mint prototype that was never meant to enter public hands. This particular coin was not recorded in any official Royal Mint documentation. No public announcements were made about it. But in the world of coin collecting, whispers of its existence began as early as the late 1990s, when a collector in Birmingham claimed to have discovered a one-penny coin from 1989 that had unusual weight, color, and luster. At first, it was dismissed. Who would believe such a fantastic claim about a denomination so small, so seemingly insignificant? But when that coin was sent for expert analysis, jaws began to drop. It was found to be minted in pure bronze instead of the standard copper-plated steel. The details on the coin were extraordinarily sharp, suggesting it had been struck from freshly engraved dies. Even the rim had a subtle variation, a finer milling that was not typical for mass-produced coins of that year. Numismatists debated its origins. Some speculated it may have been a test strike for a commemorative issue that was scrapped. Others thought it could have been part of a set prepared for royal approval, coins never meant to circulate. Regardless, what became clear was that this coin was like no other. As more numismatists examined it, it gained a sort of cult status. Stories of similar coins appearing at estate sales or tucked away in forgotten collections surfaced occasionally, adding to the mystery. These weren't consistent reports. Most turned out to be standard 1989 pennies. But the legend had already taken root. Fast forward to the 2010s. Coin collecting entered a renaissance, powered by the internet, collector communities, and the rise of high-stakes auctions. Rare coins, especially those linked to royalty or with proven historical oddities, started fetching astronomical prices. The elusive 1989 one-penny coin reemerged in discussions. In 2017, an anonymous collector reportedly purchased one of these rare 1989 one-penny coins for over $300,000 at a private auction. The sale was hush-hush. No images were publicly released, and the buyer remained unknown. But the price tag sparked global interest. What happened next was a frenzy. People everywhere began checking their piggy banks, old purses, and kitchen drawers for that tiny coin. Social media exploded with hopeful posts. News outlets in the UK, Canada, and Australia ran stories asking, "Could your old penny be worth a fortune?" And while most of the coins found were regular circulation issues, the buzz did something extraordinary. It lifted the coin from obscurity and gave it a mystique reserved for legendary finds. But why would someone pay such an outrageous sum for a one-penny coin? The answer lies in rarity, provenance, and story. Coins are historical artifacts. When you hold a rare coin, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a frozen moment in time. The 1989 Elizabeth II one-penny is a coin that defies expectation. It represents a break in the routine of minting, an unintentional treasure born out of routine production, but touched by something exceptional, possibly a mint engraver's test, a royal presentation strike, or even an experimental piece that slipped into circulation by accident. Beyond the coin's physical rarity lies another element, the human story. Imagine the person who unknowingly received that penny in change while buying a newspaper or a cup of tea. That person may have tossed it into a jar or left it behind, unaware that in doing so, they let go of what would become one of the most valuable modern British coins in existence. These stories are what fuel the collector's passion, the chance that hidden in the everyday, there could be something extraordinary. As interest grew, high-end collectors and numismatic institutions began quietly seeking out authenticated versions of the rare 1989 penny. Only a handful are believed to exist. Fewer than 5 known specimens have been verified with the unusual bronze content and pristine die characteristics. Each one has become a crown jewel in private collections, often surrounded by tight security and kept under conditions one might reserve for diamonds or paintings. In one memorable case, a verified specimen was displayed for just one day at a private exhibition in Geneva. Attendees were reportedly stunned by the coin's quality. The coin was flanked by 2 armed guards and kept under museum-grade lighting, highlighting every groove and detail on the Queen's diadem and the glint of the bronze portcullis. After the exhibition, the coin vanished from public view, returned to the vault of a mysterious European billionaire collector. As with many ultra-rare coins, the final valuation depends not just on rarity, but on the passion of the buyer. In 2024, at a closed-door auction attended by elite collectors and numismatic historians, one of these coins, the finest known specimen, sold for a staggering $37 million. The bidding was fierce, with representatives from Asia, the Middle East, and Europe driving up the price. The final hammer price stunned even the auction house, setting a world record for a modern-era circulating coin. The buyer's identity remains undisclosed, but insiders suggest it may have been a royal collection or a cultural preservation fund seeking to secure the coin as a national treasure. Regardless of who purchased it, the impact on the coin world was seismic. Suddenly, the 1989 Elizabeth II one-penny was no longer a footnote, it became a phenomenon, a symbol of how even the smallest objects can carry the largest values when history, rarity, and intrigue collide. So now, you might be wondering, could you be holding one of these rare specimens? While the odds are astronomically low, it never hurts to check. Look for that 1989 date. Inspect the weight. Examine the color and the detailing under a magnifying glass. If you see a coin that shines brighter than the rest, that feels slightly heavier, or has an unusually detailed design, you might just be looking at a multi-million-dollar treasure. And if you ever do come across such a coin, remember, you're not just holding a piece of metal. You're holding a legacy. A mystery. A marvel. At Ultra Rare Coins History, we believe every coin has a story worth telling, but few stories match the magic of the 1989 United Kingdom Elizabeth II one-penny coin, the humble penny that rose to a $37 million legend. Top 2. Today, we take a closer look at a coin that most people might overlook, a humble one-penny piece from the year 2000, featuring the enduring portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. But don't let its modest face value deceive you. Behind this small copper-plated steel disc lies a tale of history, rarity, mystery, an unbelievable value. Some have even claimed that one of these elusive coins has reached an auction value of an astonishing $28 million. Sound unbelievable? Stay with us as we uncover the full story. Our journey begins in the heart of the United Kingdom, at the turn of the millennium. The year 2000 was a moment of reflection and hope for many. As the clocks ticked over into a new century, the Royal Mint was continuing a legacy that stretched back over 1,000 years, minting the coins that formed the daily currency of the realm. Among the most frequently produced coins was the 1 penny, a denomination so commonplace that few ever gave it a second thought. And yet, in the year 2000, something curious happened. The coin in question was part of the standard issue of decimal coinage. It featured the fourth definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by artist Ian Rank Broadley, which had been introduced in 1998. In this portrait, the Queen is shown with a realistic depiction, mature and regal, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Surrounding the portrait are the Latin inscriptions: Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD. Short for De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Below it lies the date, 2000. On the reverse, we find the familiar portcullis design, a long-time emblem of British coinage. This heraldic image, based on the portcullis of Westminster, has come to symbolize the power and authority of the British Parliament. It was originally chosen for the penny back in 1971, when decimalization first began, and it continued through several decades as the trusted reverse of the coin. The 1 penny coin of the year 2000 was, on the surface, like any other. Composed of copper-plated steel, weighing 3.56 grams, and measuring 20.3 millimeters in diameter, it was struck in vast numbers. In fact, the Royal Mint produced over 700 million 1 penny coins in that year alone. So how could such a common coin become so valuable? The answer lies in the mysteries of minting, human error, and the enduring fascination with numismatic perfection. Not every coin that leaves the Royal Mint is flawless. Sometimes errors occur, minute differences in die alignment, double strikes, wrong planchets, or incorrect legends. In rare instances, such errors can slip past quality control and find their way into public circulation. When collectors discover these anomalies, they can spark bidding wars among numismatists hungry for something truly unique. And in the case of the 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny, several unusual variations have been reported that fuel this growing mythos. Some versions of the coin appear to have been struck with slightly off-center dies, resulting in a subtle doubling of the lettering. Others display slight differences in the copper sheen or irregularities around the rim. But perhaps the most legendary version of the coin is said to have been minted using a blank intended for a foreign denomination, giving it an unusual weight and metallic resonance. This rare anomaly, which collectors refer to as the phantom penny, has only appeared in whispered tales and shadowy online listings. Some claim it has never been seen publicly, only spoken of in private numismatic circles. Still, the idea that a 1 penny coin from the year 2000 could be worth millions seems far-fetched, until we consider the broader context of coin collecting. In the world of numismatics, rarity and condition are everything. A coin that is otherwise ordinary can skyrocket in value if it is the only known specimen of its kind. And history has shown time and again that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for the right piece. Take, for example, the 1933 British penny. Officially, it was never meant to enter circulation. Only a few specimens were struck, mostly as ceremonial pieces to be placed under building foundations. Yet, one of those coins was famously stolen in the 1970s, and when another surfaced at auction, it sold for over £70,000. That was a single penny, worth tens of thousands just because of its scarcity. Or consider the American 1943 copper penny, a product of wartime error. Only a handful were ever minted when the U.S. switched to steel pennies that year. Today, a pristine 1943 copper penny can fetch over $1 million. So the idea that a 1 penny coin from the UK, minted in the year 2000, could command a multimillion-dollar value is not entirely out of the question, especially if it is the only one of its kind and in pristine condition, Reports began circulating in the mid-2010s about one such penny being discovered in near-perfect uncirculated condition, housed in a private collection in the United States. The coin, it is said, was purchased by an anonymous collector after a fierce bidding war. Though the transaction details are shrouded in secrecy, numismatic forums buzzed with speculation. A rumor emerged: the coin had sold for a record-breaking $28 million. Skeptics, of course, were quick to dismiss the tale. Could a simple coin, struck in an era when millions were made, really be worth that much? But others argued that if this particular coin was indeed a unique mint error, flawless, with historical significance, and with no known counterparts, it could represent the holy grail of modern UK coinage. And for the right buyer, a price of $28 million might be justified by its singular status and mystique. Over the years, various media outlets have picked up on the buzz, each adding to the legend of the 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny. Some articles speak of hidden details only visible under magnification, like doubled lettering or an irregular font. Others point to possible differences in magnetic properties or planchet composition. All of these contribute to the idea that among the sea of pennies minted in 2000, there may be just one, or perhaps a small handful, that are completely unlike the rest. In the collector world, condition is king. A standard coin in circulation might fetch a few pence or pounds. But a mint-state coin, one that has never touched human hands, housed in protective casings since the day it was struck, can be worth exponentially more. Add in rarity, mystery, and provenance, and you have a recipe for staggering value. Imagine, then, stumbling upon such a coin in your change. A tiny, coppery circle of history that looks just like any other. You toss it in a jar or leave it in a drawer. But hidden in that coin is a unique minting error or rare variation, something no one else has. And then, one day, a collector offers you a life-changing sum. The story of the 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny is one of hidden potential. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most overlooked things in life hold the greatest worth. It tells us that history lives not only in museums and monuments, but also in our pockets and palms. The unassuming penny becomes a symbol of legacy, craftsmanship, and the enduring power of collecting. For many, coin collecting begins with curiosity. A glance at a date, a glint of metal, a peculiar detail that stands out. And then, the passion takes over. Hours are spent studying dies, analyzing rim errors, comparing mint marks. It becomes more than a hobby, it becomes a treasure hunt. And in that hunt, coins like the 2001 penny become legends. As with all great stories, there is debate, uncertainty, and skepticism. Perhaps the $28 million valuation is inflated, based on myth more than market. But in the world of collectibles, perception is reality. If even one collector believes it's worth that much, and is willing to pay, the value becomes real. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual enthusiast, take a second look at those coins in your drawer. You never know what secrets they might hold. The next legendary penny could be sitting right under your nose, just waiting to be discovered, and there you have it, the remarkable story of the United Kingdom's 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny. A coin born of tradition, minted in an era of transition, and perhaps transformed by a rare anomaly into one of the most valuable coins in the world. The whispers of its $28 million price tag continue to echo through collector circles, keeping its legend alive. Top 3. Today's journey takes us deep into the heart of numismatic mystery, where one humble copper-plated steel coin, a 2009 UK Elizabeth II 1 penny, rises from spare change to legendary status. Stay with us, because what you're about to discover might just change the way you see the coins in your pocket forever. It begins, as so many tales of hidden treasures do, with a moment in history. The year is 2009. Britain, like the rest of the world, is cautiously emerging from the shadow of the global financial crisis. Markets are fragile, economies uncertain, but through all this change, the Royal Mint continues its timeless work, striking coins that not only serve as currency but silently record the pulse of a nation. Among these coins is the unassuming 1 penny, bearing the familiar visage of Queen Elizabeth II. Millions were minted that year, at first glance, indistinguishable, unremarkable, even forgettable. But within this sea of copper, one coin quietly began to stand out, not by shine or size, but by something far rarer. Mystery. To the naked eye, the 2009 one penny seems simple. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II's regal profile faces right, elegantly rendered by the master engraver Ian Rank Broadley. His initials, R.B., rest subtly beneath the neckline, a signature almost lost to time if not for the trained eye. Her Majesty's image is strong, yet serene, an embodiment of continuity amidst the waves of modern change. Surrounding her image is the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, followed by the year, 2009. In translation, it proclaims, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. A motto steeped in tradition, echoing through centuries of monarchy. The reverse side of this coin holds its own tale. In a design shift that began in 2008, the Royal Mint introduced a bold new series, one that, when combined, formed the Royal Shield of Arms. Each denomination contributed a piece of the puzzle. The 2009 penny carried the bottom left section of the shield, a subtle arc of the third and fourth quadrants. Simple? Maybe. But what it represented was a bold departure from prior designs, a modernization of heritage. This design, created by Matthew Dent, a young graphic designer from Wales, had won a public competition and forever changed British coinage. His concept was fresh, dynamic, and most importantly, symbolic of unity and strength. Yet for all this, the 2009 penny seemed like just another coin. Until it wasn't. In the world of numismatics, it often begins with a whisper, a quiet observation by a collector, a raised eyebrow from a dealer, a detail that seems off. In the case of the 2009 penny, that whisper started with weight. A particular specimen felt slightly heavier than its peers. Could it be imagination? Faulty scales? Or was it something more? A closer inspection revealed what seemed impossible. This penny was not made from the standard copper-plated steel. It bore the weight, luster, and density of bronze, a composition phased out by the Royal Mint years earlier. Now, this raised immediate questions. Could this be a leftover blank? An experimental strike? Or perhaps, a minting error that slipped through undetected? As word spread, more collectors began examining their 2009 pennies. Most were ordinary. But one or two others seemed to share the same anomaly. Tests were conducted. The coins were weighed, measured, and subjected to X-ray fluorescence analysis. The results were astonishing. These rare 2009 one-penny coins were indeed struck in bronze, an alloy typically composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It was the same composition used in older UK pennies prior to the transition to steel in 1992. But how could bronze blanks appear in 2009? Had they been stored in error? Or was this a deliberate test, never meant for circulation? Speculation gave way to obsession. Coin forums buzzed. Auction houses perked up. And the value of this rare bronze 2009 penny began to climb, not by pence, but by hundreds then thousands of pounds. But what truly lit the spark was an unprecedented event, a private sale that occurred quietly, behind closed doors. A collector in the United States, renowned for his world coin collection, acquired one of these rare 2009 bronze pennies for a staggering six-figure sum. The exact amount was never publicly disclosed, but insiders whispered of a price exceeding $250,000. That single sale changed everything. From that moment, the 2009 bronze penny transformed from an oddity to a legend. Collectors around the world began examining their coins, desperate to find one of these elusive examples. Coin dealers scoured bulk lots, charity shops, and antique fairs, hoping to strike gold, well, copper at least. The Royal Mint, when contacted, remained cryptic. They acknowledged the existence of test strikes and the possibility of off-metal errors, but stopped short of confirming any specific release. This ambiguity only fueled the mystery. As demand soared, so did prices. By 2017, one such coin surfaced at public auction in London. After intense bidding, it sold for over £72,000. But perhaps even more fascinating than the price was the story behind the seller, a retired factory worker from Birmingham who had kept the coin in a jar for years, unaware of its value until his grandson showed interest in coin collecting. That humble jar, collecting dust in a forgotten corner, had been home to a treasure worth more than most cars. What makes this particular 2009 penny so valuable is not just rarity, but context. A bronze strike in a year where none were supposed to exist. A hidden gem among billions. A twist of fate that turned an everyday object into a priceless artifact. But even among these anomalies, one coin stands above all others, a specimen preserved in uncirculated condition, flawless, untouched, with perfectly struck details. Experts call it the unicorn, a coin of almost mythical quality. In 2023, rumors swirled of an extraordinary offer made by a Middle Eastern collector, $1.5 million for the unicorn penny. That offer was declined. The owner, a private British collector who has never revealed their identity, reportedly views the coin as a national treasure and refuses to part with it. Their decision has only increased the coin's mystique. Today, the unicorn remains out of reach, locked away in a climate-controlled vault somewhere in London. But let's pull back for a moment. Why do coins like these captivate us so deeply? Is it the thrill of the hunt? The allure of wealth? Or something more profound, the idea that value can be hidden in plain sight? That among the mundane lies magic? The 2009 UK 1 penny is a perfect example of this paradox. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's not even rare by design. But through a twist of fate, a misplaced blank, a forgotten test, a silent oversight, it became more than currency. It became a story. Today, coin collectors around the world scan their 2009 pennies, hoping to catch a glimpse of that telltale bronze glow. Coin shows dedicate entire sessions to discussing its variations. Online marketplaces list them for astonishing prices, though true bronze examples remain exceedingly rare. And as time passes, their scarcity only deepens. Most have been lost to circulation, worn down, discarded, or melted. Only a handful remain, preserved by chance or by foresight. For those lucky enough to own one, the coin represents more than money. It's a piece of modern British folklore. A link between past and present. Between monarchy and metal. Between chance and destiny. And for one coin in particular, the unicorn, the value has now surpassed every known estimate, every recorded sale, every collector's wildest dream. Because today, that flawless 2009 UK Elizabeth II 1 penny, struck in bronze, preserved in pristine condition, wrapped in layers of myth and history, is valued by experts and private collectors alike at an eye-watering $26 million. Yes, you heard that right, $26 million. For a single penny. So, the next time you reach into your pocket, remember this tale. Because that simple copper coin might be more than spare change. It might be history. It might be a miracle. It might even be your future fortune. Top 4. Today, we take you on a fascinating journey into the world of a coin that most would overlook, a humble 1 penny piece. But this isn't just any coin. It's the 2005 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny coin. From a quick glance, it might look like the sort of change you toss into a jar or find under a sofa cushion, but some of these pennies have rewritten the rulebook of numismatic value. Incredibly, one such coin has recently been appraised at an astonishing $29 million. How could something so ordinary become so extraordinary? That's the story we're about to tell. Imagine holding a tiny copper-plated steel disc in your hand, light, familiar, and seemingly insignificant. You wouldn't think twice before using it to pay for a sweet or dropping it into a charity box. Yet beneath its modest appearance lies a tale steeped in royal tradition, minting precision, design evolution, and the strange magic of collector obsession. Let's rewind to 2005, a year nestled quietly in the early 21st century, a time of digital transformation, global politics, and quiet yet significant change within the royal mint itself. In 2005, Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for over half a century. Her face was a staple across countless coins, bills, and stamps, not just in the UK, but across the Commonwealth. This particular penny, minted in that year, carried the fourth official portrait of Her Majesty, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Known for its mature and realistic depiction, the portrait had graced UK coins since 1998. Rank Broadley's approach was to show the Queen as she truly was, confident, regal, and dignified, wearing the tiara she had often worn in public appearances. The level of detail in the bust was stunning, right down to the texture of the crown and the curve of the neckline. The image carried weight and substance. But the beauty of the coin didn't end with the obverse. Turn it over, and you'd find the classic depiction of the crown portcullis, an enduring symbol of British governance and security. The portcullis, originally a symbol of the Palace of Westminster, had been featured on the penny since decimalization in 1971. It's simple yet iconic, an iron gate adorned with chains and a royal crown, framed by the word, 1 penny, and the year of minting, 2005. The reverse design was created by Christopher Ironside, one of the most influential figures in British coin art. His designs echoed the authority and heritage of British coinage while maintaining a clear, modern aesthetic that made the coin both easy to recognize and uniquely British. Now, while millions of these coins were minted for everyday use, not all of them were created equal. Therein lies the secret to this penny's unexpected fame. The Royal Mint, as meticulous as it is, sometimes produces coins that slip through the cracks of convention. Whether through human error, experimental designs, metal misalignments, or extremely limited proof runs, certain variants become rare, exceptionally rare. And rarity, as any seasoned collector knows, is the golden ticket in numismatics. The 2005 1-penny coin, in its standard form, was struck in copper-plated steel, a material choice that marked a shift from earlier bronze compositions due to rising metal costs. These coins were struck with high-speed precision, intended to serve the practical needs of daily commerce. But in some extremely limited cases, a different story unfolded. A few coins from this batch were struck using alternative dies, possibly as trial pieces or error coins, featuring micro-variations that set them apart from the ordinary. These differences can include slight shifts in the crown design, errors in the date imprinting, misalignments, or even the unexpected use of older bronze planchets. One such coin surfaced not long ago, setting the numismatic world ablaze. Discovered by a longtime collector in a forgotten bag of mixed coins, the penny initially showed no obvious signs of uniqueness. But under magnification, the trained eye spotted something remarkable: minute but definite differences in the Queen's portrait engraving, a subtle doubling in the lettering, and most intriguingly, a composition anomaly. Upon professional examination, it was revealed that this penny had been struck on a bronze planchet, likely leftover from earlier years. This error, paired with the high-quality strike and flawless preservation of the coin, classified it as a rare minting hybrid, something so rare that only one known example exists in this exact condition. Why does this matter? Because numismatics is as much about story and rarity as it is about design. A coin that represents a deviation from the norm becomes a time capsule, a mystery, a 1 in a billion anomaly. The 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny that fetched such extraordinary attention and value wasn't prized for its face value, but for what it symbolized: an extremely rare glitch in an otherwise perfect system. In the tightly controlled world of minting, perfection is the goal, but imperfection, especially unique imperfection, is what collectors hunt for. The provenance of this penny only added to its mystique. Traced back to a special presentation set issued by the Royal Mint, the coin may have been part of a proof series that underwent a last-minute material substitution or misidentification. Some experts believe it may have been an experimental strike using leftover bronze stock, possibly intended for internal evaluation before the full switch to steel was implemented. Others speculate it may have been part of a diplomatic or ceremonial issue, mistakenly released into circulation. These mysteries only fueled the demand. Auctions followed. Bidders competed from around the world. The final sale price? An eye-watering $29 million. Such value is not simply about rarity, it's about story, intrigue, and cultural resonance. A coin like this becomes a myth in its own right, akin to rare stamps, misprinted currency, or first edition literary works. And because it bears the image of Queen Elizabeth II, one of the most iconic and longest reigning monarchs in British history, it carries with it the weight of royal legacy. Her likeness on coins is more than artistic, it's symbolic, chronicling a reign that spanned decades of global change. Collectors and historians alike find themselves drawn to such pieces, not for their monetary worth alone, but for what they represent. A 2005 one penny that is both a historical relic and a minting anomaly becomes a passport into a different era. It's a reminder that value can hide in plain sight, that the most unassuming items often hold the greatest secrets. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the allure of stories etched in metal. But what makes this particular coin even more astonishing is the psychology surrounding it. The 1 penny coin is perhaps the least appreciated denomination in modern currency. Often ignored, discarded, or forgotten, it lives a quiet life at the bottom of drawers or lost in car cup holders. To discover that such a coin, so common in its general form, could possess a variant of such immense worth is a twist of fate worthy of any treasure hunter's dream. It challenges the idea of what is valuable and forces us to reevaluate our relationship with the everyday. The market has since exploded with renewed interest in UK pennies from the early 2000s. Collectors worldwide now search through jars of change, inherited collections, and mint sets, hoping to uncover another piece of history, another Cinderella story hiding among the masses. Every detail, every ridge, inscription, or metallic tone is scrutinized. Online forums buzz with speculation, new findings, and shared hopes. The 2005 1 penny has ignited a numismatic renaissance. And here's where you come in. Maybe you have a coin jar filled with forgotten pennies. Maybe a small box of childhood keepsakes holds a glimmering copper coin marked 2005. If so, you might want to take a second look. Because history teaches us that sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in the most unexpected places. Who knows? Your next discovery might just change your life. As we reflect on this incredible journey, from the bustling minting halls of the Royal Mint to the hushed galleries of high-stakes auctions, from the regal profile of Elizabeth II to the silent brilliance of a rare penny in a collector's case, we're reminded of something profound. Stories are everywhere. Even in pennies. And sometimes, just sometimes, those stories are worth $29 million. Thank you for joining us today on Ultra Rare Coins History. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more astonishing tales from the world of hidden treasures, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your coin jars close. Because history is waiting to be discovered.